Hey, this is Doug DeVitri, the host of the CoTrackPro podcast. Today we have a special guest, Nanette Murphy. She is a divorce coach. So if you're going through a separation and you want to figure out how to do this right, um, hire a coach. Welcome, Nanette. How are you today?
Hi, Doug. Thank you so much. Thank you. And hi, everyone who's listening. I appreciate you having me on.
So, Nanette, you've been doing this for a while. You've written a couple books on the topic. But before
Mhm.
we get into that, just tell us, what is a divorce coach?
Well, a divorce coach, great question. People say, why? Divorce is more than just a legal battle. It doesn't even really have to be a battle, but, for lack of better term, it's an emotional journey and it's an emotional roller coaster. And it's anger, it's depression, it's fear, it's sadness, and sometimes all within 5 minutes. And you know what I learned the hard way is um, when you have all these emotions and you're dealing with a soon to be ex and you're trying to live life and navigate divorce, your attorney is not the one that you want to be emotionally dependent on because they charge a lot of money and they charge per 8 minutes. Like, anyhow, we won't get into all that, but you want to have someone in your corner that can help you prepare. They can direct you as to who to hire, why, and in what order, and give you direction, give you resources, help you hire an attorney, give you, I have a list of mortgage lenders. And so basically, trying to answer quickly, a divorce coach is that emotional support system, the guide that will help you be ready before you even get to your attorney. Because there's a financial advisor you need to CDFA actually. So we are we're that first stop that you take as you take this journey because we're gonna give you all the tools and the resources and also we don't charge $500 an hour, and we don't charge per 15-minute text message or email. When I'm working with my clients, if you have a question in between our sessions, please ask, and it's not charged for. So it we're there to give you that less cost, less conflict, and give you some uh, give you that. I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. It's to give you that emotional support that you really need. You have a divorce. I call it a divorce brain. It's a fog that you're in. Simple things that you could have answered for yourself 6 months ago. Somehow it's not coming to you. And again, and we're relatable. We've been on this journey. We know how tough it can be. So it's that helping that person get guided through it.
Yeah, and I can imagine it can be a longer process for some than others. I would imagine people probably come to you beforehand
Mm.
saying, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting a divorce." You might even talk them out of it, right?
I actually
Or
that
it
is
could go
actually
on for a long period of time.
that is really when I want people to call me when they're just contemplating. I actually currently have a client, actually, we shouldn't say current, she just finished all her sessions. We will likely go into a next set of sessions, but she truly found herself and a direction for herself. Does she still wish to divorce? I believe yes, she does. But now she has more clarity on where her life is going to be going. And she's not as fearful. She's not as anxious. She's not overwhelmed by all the tasks that she's going to have to do. And that is, I wish I would have had that.
Yeah.
I wish.
Well, basically, you're reinventing your life post-divorce. You're setting yourself for a new identity, a new set of habits.
Absolutely.
Maybe you start to learn some new set of skills.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit of what that looks like in reinventing yourself.
Well, I like how you use the word reinventing because that's what I am, a divorce and life reinvention coach. And
Mhm.
I did reinvent myself. I the whole process is once that divorce is final, I always say it's the what's next stage. And it's, to me, looking back, it's like the best stage. Was I fearful of the future? I was terrified. But now I say the future excites me. I'm not afraid anymore. And that's what I want to share with people, that I mostly coach women because, and mostly the gray divorce, which means you're over 50. So talk about throwing, you into a huge storm. To find that new identity can be scary. So that's what I want to be able to share with people, that let's take it one step at a time, take a class, go back to a hobby that you used to be so passionate about, or pick up something new, or start traveling, or be a foodie, whatever it looks like for you. But it's hard to do when you're terrified.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
One thing that I did differently is I signed up for my first triathlon, and I
Yeah.
didn't know how to swim, right? I didn't own a bike, and I hated running, but I did but I did it
Good
anyway.
times.
I did it
But
anyway.
how did that not make you feel so exhilarated and confident and go, well, hell, if I can do that, like the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But if you're stuck, if you're stuck and terrified, it's hard to get out of that. And sometimes you need that guidance from someone else to go, well, why can't you do that? And I always like to say to people, and I don't ask this question if I didn't do it myself. When was the last time you did something for the first time? And I
Mm.
can proudly say in the even last year, I think I said that 3 times. And this year, maybe twice. I went skydiving a month and a half ago or 2 months ago. It's just, and let me tell you, that first step of skydiving can be pretty darn scary. But then you go do it and you go, well, dang, that was a lot of fun. I want to do that again. And I want to try something different. So it's really, I always also say, step out of that box you're in, remove yourself from the comfort zone that, you feel protected in. Because that world outside, it's bigger and more, it's better than you even can imagine if you just let yourself. And
Sure.
did it over 50. I divorced, I was 50, married for
Mm.
almost 25, or I was married 25 years, 3 children, raised a family. And I'm like, what the heck? Hadn't been single since I was 18. Talk about terrified.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of taking it one day at a time.
Well, I can imagine this might seem at the time going through this that everything's crashing down on top of you, right? Like, or maybe
Absolutely.
the world's going to end. How important is it for co-parents to prioritize their mental health? And what are some of the things that they can do to help support themselves ongoing, even after a session they might have with you?
Yeah, that's where I wished I would have done a better job. But your self-care is the most important thing for both parents to do. And that learning to put your anger aside for each other, it's so hard to do. But again, if you've got someone who's giving you the tools and kind of guiding you along, it definitely makes that process easier. If you feel frustrated with your soon-to-be ex, and then you reach out to your coach for guidance, instead of texting or emailing or calling your attorney complaining
Mhm.
about it, and thinking I'm going to do this and that and the other thing. And the attorneys are trained to litigate. I've had many attorneys tell me that that's what we're trained to do. So if you can have someone in your corner saying, I actually have a self-care guide. I call it start with you, then work on everything else. And it's nothing earth-shattering, it's nothing complicated, it's not expensive, but it's taking time for yourself every day and making sure that, you know, you're taking care of that, eating right. I say if you go to the gym, step it up a notch. If you don't, well, then you need to get off the couch and go for a walk. You need to listen to some, meaningful podcasts. I will listen to podcasts when I walk all the time. And I always find a new perspective on things, or go, oh, wow, that's a good way to check in. We all need it every day. When you're in a storm, man, don't forget your umbrella because you're going to get wet. So these are the resources that you want to have, mainly someone guiding you and in your corner. And let me also be clear. I just had this like the third time I've had this conversation today. Therapists and coaches are two different lanes. A therapist will help you deal with those past emotions and those past hurts and those past angers, and which absolutely some of us need that
Yeah,
through
absolutely.
through divorce. A coach, okay, we understand what your pain is, we understand what your anger is, but now let's not stay there. The coach's job is to move, let's get through today, and we're going to move forward. And when someone is working with a coach, they have to be ready and willing to let go of that past.
Gosh, and that's
And
I know that's got to be hard for a lot of people. And how do you tell somebody, sorry, I can't work with you yet, right?
hmm
Meet with this person and then
hmm
let me
hmm
take you to where you want to go. How hard is that?
Absolutely. It's very challenging. I've actually had a couple clients that I really wanted to work with because I knew they had potential to get through it. But if they're not of the right frame of mind,
Mhm.
I can't help you. I really can't. And honestly, those clients realized it. Like one just said she worked with me for a short time, and she almost felt guilty because she wasn't progressing and she couldn't get unstuck. And it kind of breaks my heart because I want to know how she's doing. And actually, I just recently thought I need to reach out to her just to say, hey, I'm checking in. I just want to know, are you doing okay? And because this is a passion of mine. This is a mission I'm on to help people get through this because I know how much it sucks. It's, wouldn't you say, Doug?
Well, it's not so much the pain, but it's what can you do? What can you use that pain, right, to create something purposeful? And if it motivates
Absolutely.
you enough, you can help other people too with it.
Absolutely, absolutely. One thing I like to tell people when they're struggling on how to heal and get through their own painful days is volunteer. Check in with your local community. Who needs you? Who needs soup kitchen? Maybe you're going to go volunteer at the art studio in town. My point is it doesn't matter. Give of your time
Mm.
to your community because you will always find someone that will they will actually uplift you more than sometimes what you feel like you're doing for them. And you walk away going, wow, I got so much out of that. It's because you just filled up someone else's heart, which filled up
Mm.
yours. For me, that was a huge part of my healing journey.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I know that
Yeah.
I volunteered for a lot of different places, help raise money for special causes, and it
hmm
helps you also to build new relationships,
Oh,
right? With people who
absolutely.
you never would have met before without that.
Absolutely. That's the other thing I say to is like join a group. Like either do something like a triathlon or you could keep it simple to a running club or but the point is to get out there and meet new people and you will find that the more you are comfortable with being uncomfortable, the doors open for you.
Yeah, no, that's really great. So
Yeah.
anybody who's listening or watching this right now, what are maybe some three actionable steps that they could take right now to get to kind of shift their mind towards either rebuilding themselves or reinventing themselves,
hmm
giving themselves self-care, or joining a specific community?
Yeah, well, the first thing I suggest someone to do if they're struggling in the prep, the journey, or the healing is truly hire a coach. You have to hire some, and you can't look at it as like, oh my God, it's another cost. This is an investment in yourself. It's an investment in your future. Um, I hired my own life coach, and the journey and trajectory it took my life is just over the top for me. um, Really focusing on taking care of yourself. And I'm not, joking that I worked out. I just stepped it up a notch. Kickboxing was a really good one for me. That's a really good way to get rid of aggression. Like look for ways that will um, help you address those emotions, but also like you need to work through them. And being able to release that pent up anger or frustration I will often say, scream into a pillow if you have to. Like it's truly a release. Meditation, prayer, whichever way you feel. I feel like it's one and the same, but whatever you feel comfortable with, um, manifesting, vision boarding, something else that I facilitate for. Work on creating what future you see for yourself. And I have a sign in my office says if your dreams don't scare you, dream bigger. Think out of the box. Just be like completely crazy in your thoughts because you never know where it will take you. And I think the final thing that you can do after you've hired your coach and you're taking care of yourself, truly take a class, get certified in something, go back to doing something that you are so photography. Have you always wanted to travel? I was just speaking to a lady who's getting all 50 states in under her belt before she even travels to Europe. It's really all about thinking bigger than you ever have before and trying to not actually, if you are a little scared, then it's probably better because then it makes it all the more worthwhile. How did you feel after you finished that triathlon?
Well, I was thinking about my pain, not my emotional pain, right? But the physical pain.
Of
When
course,
you're
yes,
training for a race like that, you don't have time to think about other stuff that would normally clog up your brain. So
right.
yeah, to have some sort of release like that is absolutely critical.
It is. It's interesting you say that. I remember yoga was never my thing. It still isn't. I'm better at it, but it gave me too much quiet time in my head.
Mm.
And I went, I can't do this. I need something way more physical, way more, something I need to concentrate on more. And hence the kickboxing, But you have to get out of your head because then the thoughts just consume you and it's hard to get unstuck.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about what a coaching arrangement looks like. I would imagine it's not just one Zoom call, right? I would
Oh
imagine
no, no.
maybe you have a package or something
Yes.
that's so tell us a little bit about that.
I do. I used to start with, a small package of three, package of six. Now it's like, you need 8, 10, 12 sessions. You really do. And of course, it depends on what section of what stage of the divorce they're in. But if somebody comes to me and they're just contemplating, uh, I want you to do the 3-month package. Like, and be committed to it.
Right.
I like to say weekly, bi-weekly if it's better for them. Life happens and gets in the way and of your plans. But um, one of the things, like when you're going to work with a coach, you must be committed to the journey, to the momentum. You must want to get unstuck. Um, I sat in denial for a couple years, and on average, that's what happens. People contemplate and think about for 2 years. So you do have to want to move on and get, I guess I don't want to say get better, but you want to heal. Like you're broken. And it takes a minute, but it takes longer when you do it by yourself.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would have, I know I want to hear, and I'm sure other people want to hear some of the success stories you've had. Maybe there's
Yeah,
one client that stood out. You're like, yeah, this is why I'm doing this.
absolutely. Actually, the two of my clients I've had, from this year, I should say last year, previously, she's didn't want to sell her home, wanted to stay in it, stayed in her home, took on the cost of all of it. Within a year, she sold it, moved on, with a partner. She took on a new job. She changed her whole life. Um, you know, that was such a huge success story for me because it was hard. It was a hard process to get out of the divorce she was in. And now she is, with someone new. And is life perfect with the ex and everything? No, but that's not the point. She is in a much happier and more peaceful place with herself. But my favorite is my most recent client who just finished a couple weeks ago. And this woman was very just consumed with the process and all the things she had to find. fast forward that she found a new purpose for her life. But the best line that she said to me is we hadn't talked for a couple months, and she looked amazing, first of all, when I got on the call with her. She'd found a path that she knew she wanted to take. She found her purpose. But she said to me, when I started working with you, I didn't think there were any possibilities for me. And now I see that the possibilities are endless. For me, I was literally writing it down. I'm like, oh, I'm taking that one. I am going to make it. And I did. I have posts on it. That was the moment. Well, I've had more than one, but most recently that was so powerful because that's the problem is specifically women over 50, been married 25 years. Just they think they're starting over. I say it's a new beginning. So for her to say, the possibilities are endless. To me, I've done my job. That was just the icing on the cake.
Well, that's
Actually,
really
that was
great.
the cherry on top. That was the cherry on top. Yeah,
We've also done really great in this interview, answering a lot of questions. Nanette Murphy, thank you so much
of
for being a
course.
part of this. I'm
Yeah.
going to take your website. I'm going to put it in the notes for people to check out after
Yeah,
this.
thank you. Thank you.
And so, yeah, maybe you have any final thoughts or comments for anyone listening?
My final thought is don't take this journey alone. You're not going to climb a mountain by yourself. You trained for your marathon,
I had a coach.
nobody, yeah, you have to because you need that encouragement, you need that support. So asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of strength. So stay strong.